Hey guys, Kyle from the Vita Lounge here today to have a little chat with you about what I think would be a next logical step for another PlayStation Portable console, if there ever is one. I've been asked this question a lot in the past, and it's really hard to lay it all out on Twitter or during a podcast episode due to different factors that pretty much boil down to the character limit and me talking forever while Tyler or whoever just sits there. As such, I figured it'd be cool to walk you guys through what I would do and why I would do it. So, here goes. If I was in charge of the overall design of a brand new PlayStation Portable, something that would come third in the line of consoles following the PSP and Vita, I think I could do a pretty good job. And I'd do it by considering both the past and the future. To begin, picture in your mind a PlayStation Vita 1000. Being that this is a handheld, there would be a natural evolution of the previous product, and the Vita is a hell of a piece of hardware physically, so why start anywhere else? The first thing I do, however, is to make the console a little more feature complete physically, making it match other PlayStation consoles, the home and the portables, by adding something akin to one of those Joetsu trigger grips. You'll have the option to go slim by removing the triggers and using touch on the back of the portable, but the ability to make it more like a DualShock controller with an included accessory. To be clear, the new portable would have a full-size back touch, but most of that would be for backwards compatibility only. Games on its native platform would only use that back touch for triggers when the trigger grips are removed. Clickable Sticks would also need to happen for a full control tie-in, and I'm not really even a fan, but the unification of basic control schemes needs to happen. It needs to happen for a bunch of reasons, but backwards compatibility with PlayStation 1 titles is reason enough in my books. Clickable Sticks would be added, though aside from that, I'd leave the analogs pretty much as they are. I like them, they feel good. Speaking of a controls tie-in, how about direct PlayStation 4 controller integration? It'd be nice to be able to have an option in the remote play menu and simply become the controller of your PlayStation 4 with full functionality and no remote play view. Your new portable device should be integrated into the ecosystem of PlayStation more so than just remote play. A light bar would need to be added, but as long as we add the option to turn it off, I don't see a problem with that. So that's a trigger grip that allows you to go slim for portability by removing it and using back touch instead, clickable analog sticks, and a light bar, as well as PlayStation 4 integration. All these things would better integrate the next generation of PlayStation Portable into the ecosystem and allow for more of the ecosystem's titles to reach it with less modification. While it's true that the PlayStation 4 controller integration is a great reason to make the controls across the board some sort of standard, so is every other PlayStation extension aside from direct backwards compatibility. What I mean to say is, aside from the PSP and Vita, the other past PlayStation consoles all had those controls, the triggers, the clickable sticks, so making them a standard feature would allow for things like one-to-one controls on PlayStation 1 Classics, and even one-to-one controls on PlayStation Now rentals. Having these things the same across consoles and even controllers will allow for much better integration, and integration is one of the PlayStation Portable's pillars under me. Speaking of integration, the next item on my checklist is HDMI out and the ability to disable copy protection. It needs to happen. The PlayStation TV was simply too niche of a console with too many restrictions to be successful, but a PlayStation Portable that can also plug into your TV has been asked for since Sony's been making portables, and probably longer. It would make the console a more true hybrid, do-everything sort of technology, and would make it more relevant in more situations with very little cost and design issues attached. Win-win. Then, of course, there's the need to include some sort of integrated storage. I'm thinking 16 gigabytes is a good number, and to not have it disable when other storage is attached. The 1 gigabyte of storage enabled on the PlayStation TV and Slim is an insult when you realize that not only is it restrictively small, but it also disables itself when you insert your memory card. There's no reason for that. Does your phone's internal memory disable when you insert a micro SD? Hell no. So this one shouldn't when you insert a memory card either. Speaking of which, no proprietary memory cards. I don't care if you encrypt the card all the hell and use a proprietary file system so it can be accessed from a PC, but I'm really tired of hearing people bitch about memory card prices. The average consumer simply does not understand the idea behind hardware copy protection costing money in that way, so I say do it another way. If you can make it work with hard drives and PlayStation 4s, you can make it work with micro SD cards and a next-gen PlayStation Portable. End of story. And while I'm at it, this puppy should be getting the latest and greatest revision of Wi-Fi chip. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. None of this weak or cheap bullshit. We need signal strength. Looking to the other important internal specifications, let's start with the all-important screen, which I'm going to take the possibly unpopular stance of saying would be perfect as a 5-inch 720p OLED panel. At 5 inches and 720p, the portable screen would be Retina, meaning it's so sharp the human can't pick out pixels in the image, at a foot away from your face, which for me is comfortable playing distance. There's really no need to make something any sharper than you can see, so 720p would both qualify as a good resolution for the device and make it possible for less powerful hardware to do more. Now, when I say less powerful, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we should build a weak portable. No, sir. I'm saying that instead of building a portable, how about we build our portable around an already built portable? One that's not quite top of the line, but could certainly be top of its new class when we're done. Why is that? Because we'd simply build it around a cheap smartphone. Anyone with a hard-on for specifications and the latest iPhone or Android phone can tell you that they're way more powerful than even the PlayStation Vita, the powerhouse of portables as far as the mainstream audience is concerned. You can walk out to any store and pick up a sub $200 phone that just stomps the Vita in processing power and offers all the options we would need in a piece of hardware. Some of this is because the Vita is underclocked to save battery power, and some of this is because of the Vita being old tech. Going this route, however, would net us a lot of gains, the best of which are better battery life, new tech is generally less power hungry, lower development costs as the hardware is already available, and no unnecessary R&D. We'd capitalize on the mobile market's race to replace computers with phones and tablets, and we'd do it because it's the easy way to do better things. Now, that smartphone we pick, well, it'd vary slightly depending on the market and when we start developing, but its minimum specs would be something far beyond what we're using now. Operating clock speeds for the processor, which would have at least 4 cores, would be in the 1 to 1.6 GHz range instead of 333 MHz. The GPU would be heaps better than our iPad 3 era SGX 543 MP4 Plus, and we'd be running at least 8 GB of RAM. As for a charging and connector port, straight up USB connectors would be great, as proprietary ones are garbage, and USB mini, micro, and the like are garbage with regards to strength and longevity. A lot of people would call for the same connector the Slim Vita and most cell phones use, but I want it to be sturdy, not just standard. Looking to software, we need proper multitasking, and for that some resources need to be properly allocated. We shouldn't have to borrow like the Vita does with games like Resident Evil Revelations 2 or Danganronpa Another Episode, and all functions should always be accessible. Being connected and being able to swap between gaming and other tasks is a must in these busy times. Other than that, I don't mind if they keep the OS the same as the Vitas. The bubbles and the rest of the menus worked fine aside from that misleading use Wi-Fi in power save mode settings text. And if it isn't broke, you shouldn't fix it, especially when there are more important things to fix. Besides, the upgrades to the hardware and the locked-in proper multitasking would mean that the Vita software would run much smoother and quicker on the new handheld, and you know how much we like quick and smooth. Backwards compatibility would necessitate that launchers, emulators for Vita, PSP, and PS1 titles were added, and that the games the previous consoles supported worked going forward. With all the standard controller buttons, they would be easier to play, meaning more likely to be played and bought. Hell, if it's technically feasible, throw in a PlayStation 2 emulator while you're at it, alright? I don't know what kind of resources those things need these days, but if it's possible, I think it'd be a great way to tie everything together. PlayStation 1 is already available through Classics and the emulator, as is PSP. Vita would follow suit as a backwards compatible system, and PlayStation 3 is available through PlayStation Now and its limited remote play options. PlayStation 4 is supported via remote play. Really, the only PlayStation console you can't work from a Vita is the PlayStation 2, and with an upgrade in hardware, it's definitely worth looking into. I mean, wouldn't you want the entire PlayStation library at your fingertips between a next-gen PlayStation Portable and your PS4? I know I would. Anyways, there you have it. My dream designs for a next-gen PlayStation Portable. It would harness the power of the innards of a low-end smartphone in order to make development cheaper and reduce R&D. It'd include all the buttons and options that a DualShock controller includes, integrating the button systems and unifying them across platforms. It'd still offer the option to go ultra portable by dropping the grips and triggers, which would be a snap-on, include-in-box accessory, and it'd include HDMI to plug into your TV for some gaming on the big screen. There'd be properly handled integrated storage, the ability to use standard memory cards, a proper Wi-Fi chip with all the latest standards, and a 720p 5-inch OLED screen. It would unify the PlayStation past with the PlayStation future while offering games with high-quality graphical experiences on the go. And it'd be awesome if only it existed. I'm Kyle from the Vita Lounge, and this has been a chat about my dreams for a next-gen PlayStation Portable. Something we'll probably never see. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below.